comes forward and works or not. No, it's not going to. There you go. So yeah, this is all the notes. And then I work with Jeff, and then that code becomes the video engine which triggers all the video. And it's quite a big project actually, and quite a big process. And I'm going to show you a little bit of this video engine here. Which computer am I on? Here. It's working. What's interesting about this video engine is it's probably become now a live data capturing tool. Everything that Nadia was testing in the lab, we can now test it at any particular stage. And we can work out, if we go into here, what was the emotion, what was the response to the emotion, and we can also start building in moods and temperament. So if someone comes in and they're constantly just, that character is generating quite a bland response, the actual project will become more bland as well, a bit more boring, sorry, a bit more neutral, I should say. And I've been working with another neuroscientist to do that, Bruno Aberbeck, who is really quite brilliant. All right, okay, so you can see at the moment, the camera's just picked me up here, right? So now she's responding to me. Now she's lost me, she's going to walk away. And then if it picks up my face here, you'd hope that she comes forward again and starts addressing me in whatever she sees my response to be. So we're sort of slowly getting this all worked out, getting the face reading technology to work in darker light as well. And I'm just going to really race through this now. We developed this project, so we're running really short in time actually. We developed the project in stages, and we have to, this was done intentionally in order to create some milestones that everyone could work on and also understand the different parts of the project. We started off with a short film, which sort of like slowed everything down of a group of people talking to reveal sort of micro-expressions. Then we did a live event at the Dana Centre, doing the same sort of thing but live, slowing everything down around them with screens projecting around them. A lot more of this information is on the website, on my website, sorry. And then we started to look at this code to generate, you know, 2 different portraits shot separately, and then try to use that code that Chris Frith has developed to generate some sort of intimacy and some sort of coherent conversation between the characters. We then looked at that code and then sort of threw things up online to get people talking about sadness, people talking about anger, and then it would sort of scroll it back to become this sort of dialogue about different emotional states. This is some of it here. And then I started to, this actually relates to a little bit to what I'm doing with Natacha at the moment, but I started to investigate different ways of revealing an image. And then we started to look at emotional contagion in groups. So if one was up there was sad, how did it affect that one down there? This is currently being exhibited at the Natural History Museum in London. Last year it was exhibited at UCLH Hospital. This is the exhibition at the Natural History Museum. Then we started to bring in the face reading technology, and this was around February this year. This started at the Dana Centre in London. And then we moved on to a bit more about this at Lighthouse, and that was back in March, where we had like 3 very simple projectors and people interacting with it. And we started evaluating this, and we got a lot of feedback from the evaluation. And I'll probably talk about that a bit later through questions, because I'm going to just race through now and talk about really why we're here, which is prototype 8. And this is developing a more sculptural aesthetic, and we're doing 2 ways with it. One is working with Natacha, and the other one is the rapid prototyping group at Solent University. Rapid prototyping is we're trying out different shapes and projections, and these are just some mock-ups of how it could could work. We did a big test at Fabrica, and basically at the end of this exhibition, we're going to sort of look at the work and make a choice about which direction to go for an exhibition at Fabrica, which is going to open in October. And these are some of the tests with Gordon, and that's sort of a mock-up of how it might work. And this then takes us to Natacha, and we spent a week with Natacha and Michael at with Hugo over in Paris, testing things through. I'm just going to introduce this. I met Natacha early last year at the Banff New Media Institute in Canada, and we were both on a residency together, and she was developing this, what's called the Pixie screen. And I'm going to let her talk about it because it's much more interesting the way she talks about it. But and this is what we're going to be developing in this room if we can get it to work. And it sort of breaks down an image, takes a lot of information away from an image, but there's an amazing amount you can take away from a face and still read the amount of emotion in it. And Natacha's screen is, you know, if this project is about emotions, it's about, you know, emotions are quite, you know, contagious, I suppose. You know, we're displaying these in set screens all the time. It's very contained, and you know, whereas Natacha's screen that she's developing with Michael, it's about it's a lot more aesthetic, and again, it's a bit more of an aesthetic relationship with the work, I think. So, sorry, Natacha, go. I'll try to pick up on that.
So, Pixie is a project developed by a collective, Experientiae, Electricae, with 3 of us working. Michael Roy, who's developing all the heavy electronics that's behind it. Michel Panouillot, who's at the root of the design process of the whole thing. And I, as an artist, who is taking the voice for everyone. And we are basically working, our principle is to work on a number of discrete elements and installations that do work at urban scale. So we do have the chance to work with our own electronic and developing our own supports. So we can adjust a maximum of discrete elements in order to create, by a multiplicity of small things, something that can be at large architectural scale, or that can be distributed through different users within the city. That's basically the root of our works. So, I'm going to go really back in time, because, well, this is a... I thought you had one left. We are developing a low-resolution display that deals with... is made of electroluminescent paper.
Sorry.
She's addressing me, so I'm just going to address it. That's made of small squares of electroluminescent paper. So, following this idea of using a multiplicity of small elements, actually the video is starting, we adjust them in order, those are small lights that do display video, and that are, each square is 1 inch large, and can be adjacent in space. So the idea is to displace the image in a volume. Each square is autonomous, and the matrix of the number of the screens, I'm sorry, the video is very squashy, to recompose the whole video image. So here what you see is 640 pixels. What we are going to develop in Lighthouse is 4 times, which is 2 screens of 1,200 pixels, developed in sculpture. So the whole idea of the Pixie is that so this is the type of setups that we have been imagining. Instead of having the video in a flat support, you do have it going through the volume, meaning you have the first row of the video at the back, the second row at the front, third, fourth, and it goes back again. So you have the whole video that's usable for the viewer in a sensorial manner. Basically, the video becomes a sculptural element. And it becomes a tactile process and a real interaction between the image and the viewer, who has a different point of view and who transforms the image by his own, with no sensorial, with no capture, by his own walking through the image. So it's really a physical appropriation of the video, which is why we entered the Chameleon Project in order to see how the contagion of the emotion could be implemented in some intimate relation to the viewer. So, if I want to go back in time, yeah, right. I'm going to go back through history, actually, to what's the first origins of the cinema. Curiously enough, the first research about moving image were done in the 19th century by people who were really fascinated by retinian persistence, meaning they weren't searching for movement, they were really looking at what was happening in the sensoriality of the image and what was happening to the eye. So the image was about the continuity of the thinking, and I'm not going to go through a number of developments that are full of history that has different ambivalence. But what strikes me in that constatation is that the image itself is started by a concern about perception rather than movement and having different movement itself. And then when you continue with the idea of perception, and you see the first images that we had with our computers, the first low-resolution images, and how we did interact with very, very little elements of information. And we did have those little people that would change just one pixel and would completely be in agreement with them. And we would completely feel emotion contagion with the little blob that would smile or be sad. And still can still work, actually. Some video games still use very low resolution purposely to get a different type of interaction. What do I have there? So this is pretty much what we work out with the Pixie. I'm just going to go back through that video so you see more. I just want to put it full screen. I'm really bad with math. It's horrible.
You want to view it full screen?
Yeah, and I want to start it.
And then if you want to screen through it, just go like that.
So I guess it's my video format that's not working. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I skipped that. I'm sorry. So what the video was showing is the Pixie in activity, and you would really see that with the different installation that we did, what occurs is that the perception of movement and what you get through this type of setup is movement running from one pixel to another, and it's really the sensoriality of the image that's happening, and that interferes with you. So we're going to try the purpose of having all those independent pixels is to try different volumic setups, which is what we are going to try for the Chameleon Project, and see how we can display those emotional contagions prototypes into different setups, and this is what's going to happen through this residency.
And then we're going to get Natacha, Nadia's team back in to again test it, and we'll get a lot more information about that. So I'm very aware that we've gone 10 minutes over time now, so I'm pretty much going to say, we've got the next 2 weeks of testing, and we're going to have another artist talk on the 15th, which will hopefully be talking about all the brilliant things that we've come up with, and Natasha and Michael will be talking as well again, and and Natasha also, she does a range of very wonderful works, a lot around the wearable technology, so have a chat to her about her other work as well, and not just this project. And I think I'm going to put it straight back to the discussion now, actually. We've got a couple of blogs going for this project. One is on AN. Another one, I'm going to... anyway, there's a lot of information about this project online. We've got an exhibition of it up at Natural History Museum. Whatever works over this 2 weeks is going to move over to Fabrica Gallery, opening in October. We have quite a lot of different talks coming up as well. So if you want to, a lot of it, I don't tend to get to update my website too often, but generally we do send out press releases. So if you want any information, please let me know. And I think we should just bring it straight over to discussion.
Thank you very much, Tina.
Cheers.
Right, so